So you've called for it, the SkyTrak Plus up against the Flightscope MEVO Plus, a whole lot of plus. Which is the best home simulator for that kind of sweet spot in the pricing, which we'll talk about, which one's more accurate, which one might suit your game, home simulator, practice life, whatever you want to use these for. We're going to go in depth, which one is best for you. Remember, if you like the information in this video and you want the best price for either of these two devices, links down below in my description, also codes coming up here to make sure you get the best price at the moment of buying. When it comes to the two devices, one of them definitely lends itself more to portable use, and that's the MEVO Plus. The MEVO Plus is definitely a bit more robust to sit in your home simulator, in your home studio, to take to the range, practice range on grass, or, you know, a bayed range. Where the SkyTrak Plus, definitely, even though it's indoor and outdoor use, it feels a little bit more of a sit in one spot in a controlled indoor environment and just keep using and using and using. And the main reason for that is the form factor. The Flightscope MEVO Plus, it's smaller, comes in a little carry case. You haven't got this big kind of Cyclops eye glass going across the whole front of it. It feels more robust. It feels like you could whack it in your bag and take it anywhere. Where SkyTrak, you can do that. It's heavier, it's bigger. I don't think you will do that. So if you want home sim fixed location, SkyTrak's great, MEVO's great. If you want to take it to the range, pick it up from at home, take it out on the course, then the Flightscope MEVO Plus, it's a little better if you're going to use it that way. When it comes to ease of setup, I think the SkyTrak Plus wins. Reason being, you just literally plonk it down and off you go. The other reason SkyTrak beats Flightscope MEVO Plus is because SkyTrak Plus, basically, it needs no room. Like, it needs a tiny bit of ball flight. It's not sat behind needing a certain amount of looking and then ball flight, which Flightscope MEVO Plus does. Flightscope MEVO Plus has a kickstand at the back, and it does require that that's tilted at the right angle. The setup in the app is easy and seamless, but it's a little fiddly. You do have to fiddle to get it all right and leveled and at the right angle. You can pick your target more accurately with Flightscope MEVO Plus if you're hitting outdoors. Indoors, they're very similar. Flightscope MEVO Plus requires on an indoor situation that you put little silver dots onto the ball as well to help with accuracy of tracking. Outdoors, they're both going to be fine. And then there leads the next problem. Flightscope MEVO Plus is tracking. It's predominantly tracking the golf ball using radar. If the projectiles, the golf balls you are hitting at some ranges, aren't that good, then the data's going to be slightly wobbly. SkyTrak being more aimed at hitting indoors, easier often to control what golf ball you are actually hitting, then giving you more reliable data. It's not that one is maybe more accurate than the other, but we'll come to that, and I've compared both of these up to my GC Quad Foresight industry standard machine. It's that if you can't control the projectile at a range, Flightscope MEVO Plus is going to give you basically what those balls do, and if that's not the ball you're playing, then there's going to be a little bit of a discrepancy there. For setup purposes, SkyTrak Plus is the easiest, and it's the easiest by quite a long way. So the technology in both is impressive. Both of them are using a version of radar. Flightscope's just all radar with a bit of an aiming up camera. SkyTrak Plus is using camera-based systems, a bit more like my GC Quad. Now, the data that comes out of both of these machines is fantastic, and the apps for both of them, it's hard to pick which one is better. I would say SkyTrak Plus is slightly more intuitive with its app. Its games that it has and its practice tools within the app are really good on both devices. Again, for me, what really stood out with both of these devices was just how good the apps were compared to my professional use software. The data that both machines are spitting out when it comes to ball, if you just want to look at golf ball, they're both great and pretty equal. Flightscope MEVO Plus lent itself more to a coaching machine, and I would say SkyTrak Plus lent itself a little bit more to a club fitting and gaming device. So where both you can game on both. You can do your simulated courses. It pairs with software. I use the E6 software, which is great for gaming and playing with your mates or practicing on a simulated golf course. The data that comes out of Flightscope MEVO Plus is a little bit more club driven. It's also got a strike module which you can add, which we'll talk about when we come to the price, because each of them have upgrades on what you get out of the box via software. But the SkyTrak MEVO Plus definitely lent itself a little bit more to a professional device, really touching on professional device. SkyTrak Plus does as well, but it's definitely aimed a little bit more at the consumer, the home user, the keen enthusiast or the gamer. Not to say that one delivered better or worse information. I would say they were just slightly different. For me as a coach, if I had to pick between the two, it'd be so tough. I think Flightscope MEVO Plus a fraction better for me just because of that club dynamics. If I wanted to put it in my house and just game and practice, oh, it would be so tight. Where you would actually use these devices, as I said at the top of the compare, I would definitely move Flightscope MEVO Plus into a home and away from home at the range, at the course device more than SkyTrak Plus. SkyTrak Plus feels so much more like a sit it in your simulator, in your room, in your garden. You can take it in and out of your garden, plonk it down and have it in a controlled environment. So if you are going to move around with this device, Flightscope MEVO Plus, if you're going to put it in a room, have it fixed, probably SkyTrak Plus. The price is tough and it depends what you want to do with these machines. I will list the different software upgrades. The Flightscope MEVO Plus definitely comes out a bit more expensive if you do want those more touching on pro-like features. It feels like the Flightscope MEVO Plus is definitely aiming at the home use, the simulator use, and the pro who doesn't want to spend loads of money on their top-end machine. Where SkyTrak Plus, where it could be used in professional situations, you're not going to see as many of them. It does feel like it's really dedicated to that home use price point, bringing it in, even with all its software package, that fraction cheaper. Both of these items and devices are in what I call the Goldilocks zone of launch monitors. You can go cheaper than this. You can go down near the £500 price point. Flightscope have the Mevo around that point, but you're very limited on what you can do with those machines. They're still great machines and they allow you to do speed training for lots of them, measure distances and what have you, enough to do what lots of golfers want. But if you're that little bit more serious and you can stretch to this price point, you are getting machines that, to be fair, even if you paid for my GC Quad, 15, 20 grand top end machine, you're probably not going to use the extra features that delivers over what these deliver. So the price for me, they're very good for what's needed. SkyTrak Plus just comes in that little bit better and more reasonable. But if you want to touch on those club delivery, strike, a bit more professional on watching what happens to the actual club measurements, then MEVO Plus might be the one. Accuracy. What about the accuracy of these two machines? Because they don't quite touch that top end price of your industry standard machines that you're seeing on tours. Now, tested both of these in a number of different situations over time, and I'll be honest with you, the accuracy is fantastic. They're really, really good. Where they have their limitations, they Flightscope a little bit in and out, dropping numbers subject to if it sees the ball, and the setup has to be really, really precise. SkyTrak Plus doesn't really drop anything, but it doesn't deliver all the numbers that Flightscope MEVO Plus does. So they both really tick the boxes that they're trying to tick. Are the pro machines offering more? Yes, they do. You get more parameters and more options with them. But for this price point, at the moment, it feels like you're around £2,000 to £3,000, or you then jump up into £15,000. And the difference between these, when you go down to the £500 ones, is very, very different. These are much closer in accuracy in what they're delivering to the top end machines, which is where I think they totally are in the Goldilocks zone of launch monitors, meaning if you can just wait and save and stretch to these, they're worth it over the cheaper equivalents. And with the accuracy being so similar on both, I can't choose. For a conclusion of which one I would go for, it would be situation based. If I had a home sim SkyTrak Plus all day, it wins. It's easier to set up, less room, it go in more spaces. It's a nice looking piece of furniture, so the device is nice looking. If I was going to practice as a golfer, take it to the range, take it to the grass range, to the covered winter range, and at home, then Flightscope MEVO Plus would be for me. So I think what makes you choose over these two is two factors. One, how much do you need club delivery numbers and graphics of how the club's being delivered, as well as strike. If you're after that and you want portability, Flightscope MEVO Plus. If you're looking for home use, you're looking for simplicity, you're looking for really easy software to use, both of them offer that, but for the home use simplicity, SkyTrak Plus probably will be the one you go for. Which one sounds best for you? How much do you think you should spend on a launch monitor? If you want to watch full reviews on both of these items, I've got the full reviews coming up here, so you can watch the individual full-length reviews of each of these if you're still not decided. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.